Greetings, all! Today, we will be examining the exceptionally rare grass-type Pokemon Turtwig, the Tiny Leaf Pokémon, its equally rare evolution Grotle, the Grove Pokémon, and its final, equally rare grass-ground-type evolution Torterra, the Continent Pokémon. While they can certainly be fun to play with at a young age, the members of the Turtwig family are also powerful beasts that can give and take physical blows fairly well with their otherwise unusual forms.
Turtwig have small bodies, with green scales covering their legs, torso, and head, with yellow scales at the base of their feet and mandible, yellow spots surrounding their grayish-yellow eyes, as well as featuring a brown splotch of material on the top of their head, from which a small woody sprout with two green leaves sprouts. Their back is notably covered in a black-rimmed shell of brown, compacted soil they use to supply nutrients to the parasitic plant that forms in their body. The evolved form, Grotle, have a similar body shape, but with 3 white nails on each foot, a small stubby tail, and white sclera surrounding their eyes. Their most notable feature is that their shell has grown in size to cover their entire body from head to tail tip, with a thick yellowish-green carapace, streaks of brown soil that run down the center line and sides of the shell, and a pair of bush-like tree growths on each side of their shell. Their final evolution, Torterra, still retain a green color across the lower frame, albeit of a darker shade compared to their pre-evolved forms, but their legs and underside as well as part of their face have turned an earthy brown color, with black rims around their reddish-orange eyes, a pair of spike-like stony extensions on the sides of their head, and larger, thicker nails than Grotle. Their entire back is dominated by their silver-rimmed shell, which has grass, stony projections, and even a fully grown miniature tree on its surface, creating a micro-ecosystem of sorts on their backs as a result.
Although Pokemon food is generally very nutritious for all types of Pokemon, most grass-type Pokemon need a little bit something extra to survive as a result of their plant-based anatomy, including sunlight and especially nitrogen-rich soil.
Turtwig and their evolved forms are no different as a consequence of the parasitic plant forms that dominate their biology, which would be a problem in harsh environments given their skewed gender ratio of 7:1 in favor of males, but they do have one major advantage. They actually carry a load of nitrogen-rich soil with them at all times. The layer of compacted soil on their backs is full of nitrogen-fixing bacteria that are fed by the host through the excretion of specific chemicals the bacteria thrive off of, ensuring a perfect symbiotic relationship that keeps Turtwig fed and the bacteria within them thriving at a reasonable population level. In addition to providing Turtwig and their evolutions with a steady supply of nitrogen, the layer of soil also acts as an efficient way of storing excess water that escapes from their pores, thus allowing them to preserve any moisture lost throughout the day or in the midst of battle. A good way of telling if a Turtwig and its evolutions are healthy is feeling the soil on their backs, as the healthier it is, the moister and harder the soil should feel. In evolving into Grotle, the soil on their backs becomes capable of supporting more than just the host, as the small shrub-like growths found on the backs of these creatures are actually trees that have become mutated by growing into the host's back and absorbing nutrients straight from its inner organs. While they still produce the fruits and seeds of their parent plants, they also now leech off of their host, but nonetheless obey the commands of their Grotle host as well.
However, this also makes them the target of other wild Pokemon that are interested in feeding on whatever berries or nuts may be growing on the trees rooted in their backs. Grotle are thankfully more than willing to share these fruits and nuts because they obtain no nutritional value from them whatsoever, making them important components within the ecosystems they live in.
With Torterra, it is visibly clear that soil is not the only thing that's on their back, as small and large stones are also a key component of the shell, giving it increased resilience and sturdiness. This altered composition also has resulted in a chemical change within the soil itself, making it much more efficient for the support of grasses. However, the rockier substrate also makes the soil stable enough to support the growth of large plants and helps to provide a ground for electrical activity, at least partially explaining their partial ground-type assignment. As a result, one of the 2 trees present on a Grotle's back reaches full maturity upon the creature's evolution, while the other dies as a result of stolen nutrients, though why this happens is currently unknown. While still considered mutants because of their advanced connection with their hosts, the trees are otherwise normal and are capable of living healthy, full lives in most cases.
As a consequence of their close connection with plant life in their state, it is no surprise that these beasts are noted for having access to overgrow as their only base ability, but it is also noted that specimens with shells that are much stronger and more resilient against attack can also have access to shell armor as a hidden ability.
In terms of stats, in the case of Torterra, while the large frames of these beasts and the manner in which their legs are attached to their body means that they are fairly slow-moving and their access to special power is not as great as one might expect, the base special attack set being below average for a fully evolved grass-type Pokemon, and the base speed set being below average for a fully evolved grass and ground-type Pokemon. These are the only true weaknesses they have, as the rest of their base stats are above average for a fully evolved Pokemon of both of their types, rendering them potent beasts to go up against if they can't be quickly countered with Ice-type assaults. As with normal plants, Turtwig use photosynthesis to produce most of their energy and must constantly move around in order to fuel themselves with enough energy to survive, an obvious consequence of allowing a parasitic plant to invade and mutate their bodies. Although this isn't anything particularly special for Turtwig, it should be noted that this process is particularly important in the lives of their evolved forms, and is perhaps the most vital fact trainers should be aware of. Unlike Turtwig, Grotle and Torterra have to support the lives of larger plants on their backs. As a result, they tend to spend a lot more time under the sun than their pre-evolved form. While Turtwig do not have the condition as of yet, they are naturally drawn to sunlight just as strongly, and this can become an issue in particularly hot weather, as it can severely hinder their water retention abilities. If a Turtwig becomes thirsty, the leaf on its head will begin to wilt, and if left like that for too long, it can permanently disable their ability to use grass-type moves, in turn making it a little more than a physical brawler with nothing more than tackle attacks to rely on in battle. Interestingly enough, while Grotle are able to use their forms to shape their parasitic plants on their backs and make offensive use of them through attacks like Razor Leaf and Leaf Storm, it seems that these trees have had an equally amazing impact on their host as well. Although the exact cause is not fully understood, the trees alter their host's nervous system when the roots drive through the spaces containing their nerves, allowing their Grotle host to sense water anywhere on the surface.
While the mechanism is not fully understood, it is thought that this may come as a result of Grotle becoming able to detect chemical odors within liquid water that otherwise would not be perceptible with solids.
In the face of drought or extremely hot weather, Pokemon within a forest community usually rely on any Grotle within the forest to help them find water, even riding on their backs if the journey is hard. Grotles seem to have no issue with this and tend to help others willingly in the wild. Even so, Grotle always have a secret well of spring water hidden from view for their own personal use. In most cases, the springs are in places that have harsh footing or are otherwise accessible to only the most tenacious pursuers, which rarely proves to be an issue due to the thick flesh that pads the bottoms of their feet.
As a result of the soil and rock substrate that comprises their shell in evolution, Torterra become capable of using their own bodies as a suitable ground for electricity without experiencing any negative side effects in evolution. As a result, they end up becoming part ground type as soon as they evolve.
This is particularly evident in their ability to learn the powerful Earthquake attack immediately after evolving, which can more than make even fire types cringe in fear and hide, as well as the devastating Wood Hammer attack as a result of their increased mass. The fact that Torterra are the only grass types that possess such a type immunity to electricity and a powerful strength against fire types makes them a difficult creature to face in any battle, though it also means that they are extremely vulnerable to the effects of cold. Despite their imposing figures, however, Torterra are actually quite peaceful and easygoing. Most of the time, Torterra bury themselves into the ground, leaving only the tops of their shells exposed to the sun. This allows them to stay hidden from view while still being able to efficiently use photosynthesis. However, the shells of Torterra are prime pieces of real estate in the eyes of many Pokemon, offering a full ecosystem in a very small space. As a result, many Pokemon build their nests and are often born on the top of these shells, sometimes spending their entire lives on them.
Much like Grotle, Torterra do not seem to mind this at all, and in fact even welcome it on occasion, even if it does make them look like a living condo as a result. At the very least, Pokemon that choose to live on them are relatively safe from personal injury, as their shell is capable of buffering the effects of their own Earthquake attack and thus enable them to attack without harming any occupants.
Although Torterra only ever move when they go in search of water, they rarely go unnoticed in the process. In many cases, Torterra move in large herds for the sake of protection and defense, and many people tend to mistake the herds for moving forests because their bodies are so large and are set so low to the ground. This seems to have made a profound effect on ancient humans, as many small religious pockets in the Sinnoh region once believed that there was a giant Torterra beneath the Earth's surface. While that is obviously not the case, it still tells us that these creatures were essentially seen as living incarnations of the Earth itself in their eyes. Considering the fact that Torterra possess an entire ecosystem on their backs, such a conclusion is understandable.
The members of the Turtwig family are a favorite of hubby's, and I'm honestly not surprised at that, as they can be a lot of fun to work with if you've got the right environment for them. Turtwig and Grotle are probably some of the calmest grass-type Pokémon out there and enjoy just spending their time playing around and helping others if they're not in the middle of a fight. When they manage to fully evolve, though, they can prove to be a substantial threat to deal with if their low speed and limited type weaknesses can't be exploited. I know it might sound funny to think that some people believe that the whole world is on the back of one of these creatures, but I can't blame anyone for that sort of global interpretation. These creatures really do have a whole world existing on their backs sometimes, and while the entourage might not always be able to help them substantially in a pinch, the fact that they are perfectly fine with other life forms resting on their backs is a testament to their normally placid nature, and something worth admiring, I think. Given that their potent earthquake attack can help to shake apart fire-type Pokémon that might otherwise pose a serious threat to them, they can make short work of an otherwise critical type weakness in this way. And while I might not see them as likely to be able to so easily shrug off extreme cold, there is no doubt that Torterra are fine beasts to work with and more than worth your time, even if they are a bit on the slow side.
Friendly to those that do them no harm, but more than capable of smashing beasts that get in their way, the members of the Turtwig family are sturdy reptiles that can certainly take a beating and give one right back in retaliation. Though some might see them as a bit too sluggish to make the most of their power, there is still no denying that these mammoth tortoises can make for substantial foes when speed is not an issue.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure that you give them a fair warning before you hop onto one and try to take them for a ride. They might not have much trouble supporting you, but leaping onto them without warning could be enough to get them to try and buck you off before crushing you beneath their massive frames as a warning for the future.
Thank you all for watching this video. It is always a pleasure to help teach others about the world of Pokemon and the many facets of it that exist in both the world we call home and the world they call home. If you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe and ring the bell to this channel to get regular updates on content and anything else that might be going on. You can find me and my written work on DeviantArt under the name Utitus and be informed of information and content uploads on my Twitter page and my Patreon page. Donations are always welcome. Always remember, the world of Pokemon is a vast and varied place, and there's no telling what secrets might be hiding just around the corner. So keep watch, stay vigilant, and always prepare for the unexpected. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.